All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to introduce the topic, but I want my phone is too close to me, and I swear this is driving me bonkers. Good morning, Nurse Wells. So, for those of you who don't know, greetings, Daisy, as well. For those of you who don't know, I started taking neuroscience courses last May because I needed more information in my research. I knew it was the brain, and then I needed to start studying the brain. So I had went through all the newsletters and websites and everything, and it wasn't giving me the information that I needed. So I started taking neuroscience classes. And throughout, I have been sharing with you my grades on my quizzes and my tests, the good and the bad. And so my lowest grade was a 25%, and that was when I was taking my neuroscience marketing course with John Hopkins. Well, never be one to outdo myself, go above and beyond. Yesterday's test was a doozy. And so I thought I'd make a graphic of it and share it with you because you need to understand that it's a work in progress. And so here is my amazing first attempt at my test on hearing yesterday. Now, for those of you who don't know what you're looking at, just look at that red number, grade received, 9.09%. I might as well not have taken the test. At 9.09%, that was my initial test. And that's why you get a lot of times to take these tests, because this is by far the lowest score that I ever received. Now, I went back at this and worked. I ended up getting 100%, but that's not the point. The point is, quitters never win. And so when I say I'm still using the principles of real leadership because they work, and the test question is, a young 20-something man told by his spouse that he seems to be saying what a lot, is asked to get his hearing tested. The young man does that and finds that a vibrating tuning fork placed on the mastoid bone behind each ear sounds louder than the same vibration placed outside of each ear. What do you conclude? Check all that apply. Okay? So in this course, there isn't just more, there are a lot of questions with more than one answer, and so you have to select all of the right answers. And I'm still a work in progress because I get I get real confused. Y'all know I told y'all I got test anxiety. I'm working through that because I'm in my 5th course. But that question, I'm sure Nurse Wells might be able to answer that question. But for the lay people, such as myself, even after sitting through 16 lessons on hearing, so I get confused by the answers. And so this test was a bunch of left ear, right ear, inside, outside, webs, render testing and all of that. You said, no, I can't. So now this is what I'm doing in my downtime, ladies and gentlemen. I'm taking classes, and this is one of the 11 questions on my test at the end of 16 modules, 16 lessons. And that was module 5. So I'm happy to report that I'm halfway through this course. I only have 5 modules left. I'm on track to finish by March 31st. But this part, now I know what you're thinking. Dr. Donna, why do you need to know about hearing when you're teaching us how the whole brain works and leadership? Yeah, congratulations, right? I did finally get there. So the point that I'm making is that success isn't enough. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Success isn't enough because there are plenty of successful people who would have quit. I was successful when I started the neuroscience course. I was already Dr. Donna. So that lets you know that the topic today is success is episodic, which means it's milestones. It's just on your way. I did not have to learn how the brain functions to teach y'all how to be real leaders. I could have stayed at success, but excellence, be the best, is always my objective. So I got to go, and it never is. It isn't. And so I got to go and study the best. I have to study the best to teach my best for you to become your best, aka excellence. So yes, I will endure a 9.09%. Now this test is worse than her taking those brains out the bucket and all of the what they stored in dripping and everything. So no gag refluxes on module 5, but then I got a 9.09%. Now, I don't know how you all did in school, but I never in my life, and I got an F in honors geometry, and I still didn't have a 9.09%. It's like a 30%, but a 9.09%, and I still went ahead and did what I needed to do, and I'm going to finish, because 9.09% sometimes will make people stop and say, yeah, I'm good. I know enough about the brain. I'm going to use ChatGPT. Oh, wow, buckets. Yes, so taking them out, having the buckets, and now they're on trays and holding them up. Sheep brains, brains, different size brains, so she could show us the hippocampus and all of the other things. Yeah, I gagged all of module 4 to get through. Yes, I almost lost my lunch a couple times. The point is that when you are excellent, you don't stop because you're Dr. Donna. You go and be a novice, a neophyte at some shit that you had a background in, went and did some other stuff and came back to it. All this after dinner work. Yes, Nurse Wells. Yes, we like my crown. See, there we go. They did a good job. I think it blends in. It's that one. That's my real too. I see. I think they did a good job. I like my dentist. Yes, two more. So a bridge and a crown up here, and then I got 2 back there that I got to get crowns. Yes, ma'am. All that after dinner work. Yes. I like them because they still look like my teeth. I don't look like I got chiclets sitting and I can still talk properly. I can still speak properly. So it's interesting not having that tooth there now. So my bite is just a little, I'm like, oh, there's a tooth there now. But interesting. So did that all after dinner work and after appointments. My daughter had appointments. So I went and did appointments too, and the grocery store and all that after the lives, preparing for the lives. And I did a little bit of work out my little kids' brain books. So y'all know I had to go to the library to get some brain books, and I had to go to the kids section because there was only one in the adult section. Had to go to 2. It's Thomas, but thank you. I appreciate it. Thomas-Rodgers. You can call me Dr. Donna too, Dr. D. Yes. So the point is that we're talking about episodic success versus excellence. So now you all know I'm getting my information from my post-its, from my courses and me studying and talking to chat, in my neuroscience courses, and in these books that I'm reading. So I'm not stopping because I'm Dr. Donna. I need this information because y'all need this information, because we as adults need to know how our brain functions so we can be high functioning. So lead by example is one of the 74 principles of real leadership, and I want y'all to fail. Failure is not an option, but you might fail on the way to becoming excellent. That's why I'm showing y'all the good scores and the bad scores. And this is my lowest score. So as soon as I saw this, let me screenshot this, turn it into a graphic. And so you'll know that I am willing to fail publicly. I'm willing to say the terms wrong. I'm willing to say, I got this wrong. Let me update what I told y'all. I'm willing to do all of that because this is real life. This is how you are excellent in everyday life. Not sitting here with some online persona. Yes, ha, 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 ha. I'm Dr. Donna and I know everything and I have everything together. No, I am still under construction too. But I'm building doggone skyscrapers over here. From here to the galaxy. That's what's actually taking place. So I could have stopped in 2008 when I became Dr. Donna, and that's what most people do. Episodic success. They stop there. And then they say, I worked hard. I got all my degrees. I know what I'm talking about. I can't use just what I learned in 2008 information in 2026. That was 18 years ago. There are people who get ready to graduate from high school. Whole human beings have come into this world and are now adults in that time frame. Now I can use that as leverage, but I can't keep speaking in 2008 terms. That's not going to work. And that's the difference between episodic success and actual excellence. And that's what we're talking about this morning. So let me flip my camera around and get my graphic for today. Where is it? Got a lot of graphics in here. Here we go. So we got 2 pictures, 2 graphics for the real leader brain. Episodic success versus daily discipline. Episodic success versus daily discipline. Good. My upload on YouTube had no issues. Love to see that. So on the left, we got the homie. Look at him. All successful, looking like Dapper Dan on his way to the Grammys, the Oscars, the Image Awards, and everything else. Pulling up to a movie premiere, all that shit. Because he's successful. I just want to be, what is it? I just want to be successful. Whoever song that was. And then you got a t-shirt, some shorts, and some sneakers, and that says, I'm disciplined. That's why I wear my brain t-shirts. That's why I'm not filming downstairs in front of my bookcases, because I'm disciplined. Y'all know I read books. You want to know how you know I read books? Because I got 11 years worth of book reviews on my YouTube channel. So I don't need to stand in front of no damn books because I read them. I'm not standing in front of them. I absorbed the information, turned it into videos, and put it on my YouTube channel. So if you want receipts, there are 11 years worth of receipts of me reading over 600 books and doing basically a book report on it. So that's discipline. Success is, look at all these books I bought. And now I'm going to film every day in front of these books that I bought. Spine ain't been broke on none of them. But they there as a reference point to what? You want to know if people actually read the books on their bookshelf that they're showing y'all? Guess what they're going to do? Reference them when they talking. Automatically. This is a great book for you. You know what? And this book says this. And this book says this. And this is book. And this is my favorite book. And this is why. That's when you know somebody is well read. Their vocabulary, their personal lexicon will tell you that they are well read. They will not be going, using lower level sentences when they actually read the books that they're standing in front of. That's the difference. So let's get into it. Success is episodic and the brain science behind it. So success, and I've said this, and I had some new information too that I was so excited about. And I was telling Nola on the way to the appointment, and she was like, okay, thank you. Because when I get brain intellectual on her, I go neuroscience, Dr. Donna. She's just like, okay, let me know when I need to use it. Now, what you say about what is it, the episodic and the, I'm going to do a whole week on it. Okay, that's next week. But success is episodic. Regulation is daily. Excellence is structural. That's why I say I'm the baddest mofo walking the face of the planet Earth, because I'm more than successful. I got daily discipline. As Nurse Wells said, you done went through doggone dental work and took one Tylenol, and that was it. And you talking, you're vertical, and you went and had whole days worth of stuff. Yes, and managed to have quality time with my child yesterday too. So what does success is episodic mean? I'm glad you asked. In simple terms, success happens in moments. In moments. It's an event. It's a spike. And in neuroscience, we call that action potential. You got to get enough excitement going with those neurons to fire to get a spike. And then they heads off. Fire and wire together. Neurons that fire together, wire together. That's what everybody says. But they don't talk about that action potential that you need for that to happen. So your brain treats success like a reward signal, not a permanent identity. Say what now, Dr. Donna? Your brain treats success like a reward signal. A reward loop closed in the nucleus accumbens, but it's not a permanent identity. That's why when you meet successful people, your insula and your ACC, Miss Brenda Jones say, something ain't adding up. The success ain't math. That math ain't mathing. What's going on here? This ain't what I read online. This ain't what your LinkedIn said. Where that person at? Where that at? Where are they? They do it. Y'all ever been somewhere and they read somebody's bio and they say, and then come on out. And they come out and you are underwhelmed? The fuck? Them the same two people? Is that who they? What is this the doppelganger? Okay. You can't put your finger on it, but you just know something ain't right. So what happens in the brain during success? When something successful happens, the ventral striatum activates the reward center. And guess what happens? Dopamine spikes. Ah! Your orbitofrontal cortex evaluates the reward, and then the ACC logs the result as this worked. It's a burst, but it's not a baseline. Your brain says, that was good. Go on with your bad self. Go ahead and repeat that. But that spike fades. Always. So let's unpack this. And this is me on a side note. I'm straying away from my notes for a moment. Now, I have a whole video that talks about motivation. And I guarantee you want the link to that video, message me on Instagram because TikTok won't let you send a hyperlink. I guarantee you, and I bet you because I live in Las Vegas, a whole 57 cents, that after you watch and listen to that video, you ain't gonna use the word motivation ever again in your natural life. Okay? So you need to be motivated to be successful. And it is fleeting. The spike, you get some action potential, you get a success, and then that sizzle fizzles. And then you wait a couple years, and you get another success. And then you get all excited, and then that sizzle fizzles again. Because it happens always. Why? Because it was motivated to get the trophy. We just won the Super Bowl. Look at the Lombardi. Oh, goodness. I got that promotion at the job. And that's the last promotion that you got. Because you ain't motivated no more. You got the house, you got the car, you got the vacation spot. So then you just gonna sit right there at regular again. That's why when people sit on my live and they tell me they got an MBA, I say that ain't shit. I got 3 degrees. Fuck them degrees. What have you done since you got that degree? What did you do with that degree? Because most people got a degree and they're not even working in the field in which the degree is actually in. I'm one of the only people who's actually using the research from their dissertation. They still using it now. 18 years later. Still using it. Still using Robert Northhouse path goal theory on how to determine excellence. Because it's situationally dependent. Still, after all this time, I guarantee you, run into somebody with a PhD or EDD and ask them, hey, what was your dissertation? And then they're going to tell you, you're going to say, what you doing now? And it ain't going to be shit to do with their damn dissertation. Why? Because people cheat when they get their dissertation. They pick some shit that they know the committee is going to approve of. They pick some shit that's going to be approved by the committee, and that's not what I did. I picked some shit that I was going to be at every day. My job. So I said, I'm going to fix some shit that need to be fixed in real life. That's why I'm still using mine. Because I used it in real life to become Dr. Donna. I had to interview team members, team leaders, HR manager, the leadership team for the Mid-America region for Frito-Lay at 19 different distribution centers to get everything done. It was in real time. That's why I could still use it. And that's why they came. Because that shit was done to hey, I got it, I passed, put the dissertation on the shelf, and then go do something else. That's basically how it happened. So that motivation works. And if you're wondering why you was successful or you have this, but something is missing, and now you got to get motivated. That's why the motivation industry is a $10 billion industry banking on y'all needing to be successful and not disciplined. Motivational speakers make $1.2 billion a year off y'all needing to be motivated to be successful. Sizzle and fizzle, sizzle and fizzle, sizzle, and you can do it. You can do it. Nurse Wells, you can do it. Be all that you can be. Because if you look at yourself, then you can be yourself and you can go do shit for yourself. You gone. Who's a bad bitch in here? Look in the mirror and say, I'm flawless. I'm flawless. I woke up like this. That's why it comes and goes. Blobs and nulls. That's why you're up. And then you're down. Up. And then you're down. You can do it. Hey. You can put your music on. Hey. Oh. Whoa. Yeah. You do it the whole time. Get that thing and back down to regular. So why success doesn't feel stable? I know. Clutch your real leader pearls. I know. Because dopamine. Now, wait for it. I told y'all it was 2 different types of dopamine. I told y'all this. And I knew instinctively. Me and Miss Brenda Jones knew it was 2 different types. I was calling it manufactured dopamine and natural dopamine. But guess what it's actually called? Because there is 2 types. Phasic and tonic. So I was right again. I might not have had the neuroscience behind it, but I knew that dopamine is different than this dopamine. This dopamine feels different. This dopamine is internal. That dopamine is external. So because dopamine is phasic, Phasic, there are two types. Phasic dopamine, and that's the spikes that everybody gets from success. And then tonic dopamine. That's your baseline drive. That's what I used yesterday to get from that 9.09 to 100% after having a bridge and a crown permanently put in my teeth the day before, and still helped my daughter on 2 different appointments, and still made lunch and dinner and finished my course and started on my other course, and still had a normal productive day. Posted on social media and prepared for these lives. So you got phasic. That's those success moments. That's like, I got my degree. I got promoted at work. And then what? It's 365 days in a year. That's why when people start telling me, well, they got, that took 12 days. That took 12 days to do in the year. It's 365 days. What'd you do with those other 353 days? 343 days, somewhere around it. What'd you do? What'd you do with them other days of the year? Now, I'm gonna call the people in the music industry out. People be like, I got 8 albums in 20 years. How long it take a team to make a whole album? It's only like 15 songs on there. What you mean? What else was y'all doing? Well, we toured for 3 months at a time for 20 years. That ain't shit. People got to go to their job 50 weeks out the year with 2 weeks off. If you're lucky, you got 4 weeks off. They got to go to work 48 weeks out the year. You motherfuckers came out with an album once every other year for 20 years. That ain't shit. That ain't shit. Then you had a whole PR marketing team push it on payola and on radio and everything else. And then you talking about you sold millions of copies. Of course you did. That's your damn job. That's in the fucking job description. Then you got to pay. I don't know if y'all knew this, but you got to pay to submit songs to the Grammys. I think it might. And then you got to pay to get your star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So you pay to submit the songs to the Grammys. And then someone wins. And they say they worked so hard. It was a whole bunch of y'all that worked hard to get them Grammys. Which songs we gonna submit? Yeah. So that part. Okay. Yeah. Tonic dopamine is a baseline drive that's daily discipline. So success lives in spikes. And if you look at successful people, it's in a spike. Excellence lives in a baseline. And that's why I had this moment yesterday when I was making up my bed, which is how we ended up with this live anyway, where every time I was doing something, the people around me would tell me about somebody else. So I had success above what I was doing. And then I realized yesterday I made this shift. That ain't hard. When people say somebody, I know people who actually worked on their doctorate and they took out student loans and just worked on their doctorate. When I was working on my doctorate, I was going through a divorce. My daughter was a toddler, and I was running a traffic center with 120 drivers. I had to sell my house to get out of divorce debt, move back home, and then I was on a second shift at the largest distribution center in Mid-America, 55,000 square foot distribution center, where we had to put out 92 routes a day. So the bulk trucks that go to Sam's Club and all of that, we had bulk routes, and then we had the box trucks, and now they're sprinters. And so we were picking orders for 92 routes a day. I had 30 employees, 92 routes a day. And then when I got my tubes tied, they nicked my intestines and I almost died. And I still finished my dissertation in 4 years with a 3.95 GPA. So somebody just going to class in a union facility. My life got threatened a couple times because some people got terminated. And I managed to still raise my daughter, and I was dating at the time too. So I'm not impressed when somebody says they just went and got there because it was going to be too stressful. It's going to be too stressful. Like, yeah. And at one point, I was driving 120 to 160 miles a day because I was a Zom, and I was driving back and forth when it finally got finalized. And then as soon as I finished, I started writing my book. But people was like, yeah, and they got their PhD, and they got their doctor. You got an EDD, but yeah, they got a PhD. They wouldn't, but give them my situation and see if they finished in 4 years instead of 5 after all that took place. So when I say I'm the baddest motherfucker walking the face of the planet Earth, I am. Because my conditions are always more stringent and still receiving excellence. Still receiving excellence. So you have phasic dopamine, that's the spikes. That's where, ooh, I did it. Clap for me, clap for me. In optimal conditions and everything else, I'm not clapping for that shit. And oh, by the way, watch this. Successful people only are successful in one or two areas of their lives. So if they're successful in business, they got a marriage that's falling apart. They got these lackluster ass FD kids. Fucking dumb. And they might be a little bit fluffy. They might be bigger than they were when they started. And so they want credit for that. If you came to my house right now, it is immaculate. My bed is already made up. I made it up when I got out of it. There is nothing on the floor. There is nothing. The carpet needs to be cleaned, and that's it. The dishes are in the dishwasher. All the other dishes, and we ain't got like 75 spoiled boxes of cereal on top of the refrigerator or nothing. We don't have to clean up our house if somebody said they was coming over. Come on over. If you are available to come over, we want you. You on the come over list. You got people you got to get checked in, be able to come over here. My wigs are all on the wig heads, brushed out. My clothes are color coordinated in my closet. Everything's folded up in the drawers. I'm the same size that I was when I was in high school. I have a high, healthy, functioning relationship with my daughter, and that's excellence. So you got intermittent success, episodic success, and then your personal life is falling apart. Your personal life is being held together with double wax dental floss, and you want credit for a degree that you got in 1972 because you're the first black person in the school to get a degree. From a liberal arts college where it was only 2,000 students in a small town. You start saying that, they're like, oh, okay. Yes. So here are some everyday examples. The promotion. You get promoted, dopamine spikes, excitement, and recognition. Yay! Look at me, I got this promotion. A small town in Delaware, yeah. 2 weeks later, your baseline returns. Sizzle and fizzle. All the newness that wore off, and the responsibilities of that promotion come showing up every day. Instead of having 100 emails, you got 700 emails. You got mail. A lot of it. When I was a Zom, we used to compare who had the most emails, and it was always me. I had 43 facilities. Now, 43 is a lot, okay? I had distribution centers and bins all over the state of Alabama, Tennessee, and Mississippi. 43. I had 5 P&Ls with $4 million, like $4 to $5 million, depending on the div lock. That's what they call it. Y'all call them P&Ls. $20 million that I was responsible for, and 300 vehicles. Intech, food security, DOT, all of that. With no executive assistant or nothing. That shit was all on me. That's why I had panic attacks. I thought I was losing my damn mind. I had 2 offices that I had to go to. Once a week in Huntsville, overnight. That's a lot of shit. So when people start saying, and that was only a senior management position. That wasn't even director or senior VP level, because that's how Frito-Lay works. But I ain't ran into another senior VP director of shit with that much responsibility with no support staff. Have not. Every time I tell them what I had to do, they're like, yeah, no. Mm-mm. So when people start saying, I'm the senior VP of the okay, how many direct reports you got? What's your budget? How many buildings and vehicles and shit, assets do you have? Because that's when you know a motherfucker got a real job. When they really doing some shit. When you start having buildings and vehicles and money and people, that's a real ass job. Because you fuck that up, you going to be in trouble. When you got the government coming to check, the government, I got the first 1,000 on a food security audit. That's a perfect score. When I was a Megazone manager. I got 1,000 out of 1,000, never been done before. Never been, that's excellent. That's excellent. That's not some success shit right there. So that's why when people say, I'm like, that ain't shit. Because when I was doing that work shit, I was like that. I won the doggone, what is it? We went to, Frito-Lay used to host the Fiesta Bowl because that was our thing. Tostita Fiesta Bowl. So the 20 top sales zones regions in the company get an invite for them and a guest to go to the Fiesta Bowl. I had 2 zones. Both my zones won. So I let somebody else take his wife for that. And I took my sister. 50-yard lines. They used to call it the New Year's Six, and was there whole weekend. They gave us green jackets on stage like we was the masters with the reward. I told the story before. We were sitting in the tailgate, and it was an African-American woman there. Well, my sister and I were chatting with her, and she said, well, who's your husband? I said, I'm not married. I was still wearing my wedding ring on this finger. I said, I'm not married. And then she said, well, who are you here with? I said, what do you mean, who am I here with? She said, why are you here? I said, because I'm a Zom. I won the dog. It was Herman Lay. I said, I won the Herman Lay Award. And she said, you won the award because I was the only African-American female Zom in the fucking company. And then I won the Herman Lay. So I said, you ain't see me on stage last night getting the... She's like, oh, I wasn't paying attention to that. Then her whole life changed. Because she thought she was talking to somebody's spouse, and she didn't know that I was the equivalent to where her husband was on the sales side, on the op side. So when I say I was at a job doing big shit, I was at a job doing big shit. So when people started talking about this little bitty episodic success, if you wasn't like that, if you wasn't top in the company, #1 top, I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. You was just doing some little success. You had a little Hebs law. Fire and wire. That's all you was doing. Now when I say that ain't shit, yeah, I ain't hating. And this was in my 30s. Imagine if I had stayed where I would be. I left at 37. So, and I didn't even get there until 28. Somewhere around there. 27, 28. That was 28. There you go, because it was 9 years. So, a social media win. This is episodic success. You post, it performs well, like spike, dopamine spike. Next day, back to neutral, and now you want another spike. Here's what I will say about going viral, and some of you may have gone viral. I don't like when one of my posts go viral. The shit fucking gets on my nerves, because every time I go into the app, I got 100 notifications. I got 75 comments that I got to go through and delete and block people and filter and all this shit. I got a post on Instagram, got 1.2 million views. That motherfucker was 2 months getting on my nerves. Because once the post goes viral, here come the trolls saying dumb shit. So I got to decide if I'm blocking you, if I'm clapping back and all of that. I got to do all that. And it keeps happening, keeps happening. So people are like, go viral. Not if you're managing your own social media account. I was like, just keep it at 300-400 views. I'm good. Keep it at 1,000. I don't want 200,000, 300, 500,000, 700,000 because it's too much work. But if you like, yup. And I pinned it at the top. It's pinned at the top on the real side. Why? Because some people will try to come and test you and say, your shit ain't shit. Okay, cool. What I need, a viral post? Bam. There you go. That's why it's one pinned on TikTok. So just in case we need to prove to somebody that I'm like that, here you go. Here go a viral post. Woo! And then the third example, a financial goal. You hit a financial goal, you got a momentary high, reward circuit fires, and then your brain asks what's next, because success is episodic. It is. Now the problem is this. If someone builds identity on episodic success, which is what most people are doing, they become addicted to the spikes, dysregulated when quiet, uncomfortable in neutral states, and anxious between wins. So the ACC starts scanning. Where's the next win? Am I still important? Am I losing? And this creates instability because you want it, but you don't want to take the time to actually get it, to be excellent. So you keep settling for success. So then all of these narratives show up, these stupid ass, and they have a triple double or a quadruple double. And so now success is, well, the grands, look at the grands, look at them. They in kindergarten now. And I'm a great grandma. Look at my kids. So then you start posting shit about the kids' sport. We on our way to soccer practice. Their team won. So everything has to be a thing. That's why I ain't on Facebook no more. Everything. We outside. Yup, the sun's shining for us. It ain't shining for you bitches. And now everything is a braggable thing because you're trying to get that episodic, phasic dopamine spike. Because you can't sit in neutral again because you really didn't earn it. Kind of got there. That's why people can finagle their way to success. That's why every time I see somebody bragging on social media, I'm like, oh, someone entered into a Faustian bargain and it's not going well. That's why we have to hear about it. I would ask you to research my post. I think I got one post back in 2015, when I won a business award at the Urban Chamber that somebody elected me for. They told me, because they know I don't do awards and all that. And they was like, Donna, you won the Women's in Business Award. And so we know you got to come to the luncheon. No, they just sat me down like it's an intervention. I'm like, who the fuck nominated me for this award? So I took it. I got a picture of me there with the award. Because I couldn't figure out why I wasn't somebody for awards. I only went to two graduations, high school and college, because my mother made me go to both of them. I didn't go for my master's degree. I didn't go for my bachelor's degree. Awards that I got in the Army, I'm like, if you have tried to call me up in front of the formation, I'm not going to be there. I'm showing up on my last day in civilian clothes, so you're not going to be able to do it. You better hand me this shit in the office because I'm out. And I couldn't figure out why I didn't want that. Why you don't want people to know what you did? Why you don't? Because I didn't do it for that. It's fleeting. I didn't do it for that. I did it to see if it could be done. And me knowing that it could be done was enough. It was enough because of what you had to do. Now watch this. And I'm about to tell you about a regulated brain. Here's how you know. This is why I don't follow nobody. I even stopped following the Nobel Prize people because they kept posting the same shit again and again. Here's how you know if somebody is actually successful or excelente. If they can't tell you exactly what they did, and then you ask them how you can do something similar, and they can't take that skill set to say, here's how you get that done, then they actually didn't do it themselves by themselves. They had some support. They might have did a little finagling. They might have did a little sycophanting, but they didn't actually do it. That's why I stopped going to networking events, not working events. That's why I stopped saying, ooh, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do this. I done met plenty of people. I done met doggone people that you would be shocked that I've met. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. I'm out. I'm not impressed with this. You ask me a question, I'm probably got some experience in it. And because I was excellent at it, I'm going to tell you the best way, the most efficient way to get that done. Here's how you do this. Here's how you do this. Because I've done so much. So somebody actually here in Las Vegas wanted to start acting. I don't act in Las Vegas anymore, but I gave them my agent's number. Here you go. This is what you need to do. You got to get your ZAG card together. Go ahead and put your profile online and start going to do extra work, and then you'll build up and get some roles. For those of you who are new here, I do have an IMDb. I was in a horrible, terrible sci-fi B movie pass-through film. I played Dana. It's a cult classic. People actually want Dana to come do podcasts and talk about shit. Some of you may have been on the live where people are like, oh my God, this is Dana for pass-through film. You should be on our podcast. I'm not doing that shit. I'm not. And I finagled my way. I had 5 lines in that movie and ended up on the cover of the doggone poster with an IMDb because Antonio Fargas, Huggy Bear, at the time was my acting coach, and he said there's no small parts, him and Debbie Allen. So he said, you got to go in here with these and do this, do this, do this. And next thing you know, I'm throughout the movie. I died because I was a human trafficker. I literally unalive a grandmother and her son, and so her grandson. So whole thing. So I've been in big Born. I was in 2 different parts of Born 5. Big blockbuster films, small independent films, commercials, episodic brain games. So if you're trying to do something in entertainment, I can say this is how I got it done. Now, they ain't got shit to do with neuroscience or real leadership, but I wanted to have a broad experience. I was like, let me see if I can act. Let me see. So if you look up Dana pass-through films, you will see me doing some terrible, horrible acting. Not on my part, but, you can only be as good as the director. And that's all I'll say about that. Who are you? Dana in pass-through film. If you look up pass-through film, Dana, some clips should pop up on YouTube. Okay. So what does a regulated brain do? A trained brain understands success is an event. It's an event. That's it. Regulation equals the structure. And excellence is the daily standard. So my daughter graduated from high school in 2020 during COVID. She finished the 11th and 12th grade together, so she graduated a year early. She was an honors grad. She graduated number 17 out of a class of 201 because she went to homeschool, Connections Academy. And there were only 11 of the seniors that had honors diplomas. So she has 2 diplomas, her regular diploma and then her honors diploma. She graduated with a 4.0 on the weighted GPA scale. And so it was a very tough year going because it was COVID, but she had 640 assignments because we combined the 11th and the 12th grade. So big hoopla. Still talking to my mother at the time. My mother's making a big deal about it. So she finished school in May. By July, she started telling people the story already. She's like, why do people care? That was May. Why am I still talking about that? Because it was an event and it's over and she was moving forward with her life. So that's what happens. It is a moment in time and you can tell the story in context because people say, well, why don't you? And Jared and Bridget, if y'all are on here, they made me go ahead and put all my shit on LinkedIn because it wasn't on there. And they were like, why not? Bridget was like, brag. So what if people get mad? Put it on there. So I made a commitment by December 30th that I would put it all on there. And then I forgot about the articles. So at some point, the articles will be on there too. But for the most part, at that time, everything that was supposed to be, that needed to be on there is on there. So that's what happens. So in a regulated brain, it strengthens the following. The dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is daily execution. That's why it takes you 307 days before you can get to level 5. So that you will be successful, not successful, but excellent at level 5 because you've already done 307 days. So 365 days is only 50 days more and 50 and some change. The basal ganglia turns it into habit automation. And because Nurse Wells, if you're still on here, I had 3 other instances in life where I was in physical pain and I still had to perform at a higher level. Number 1, when I was in air assault school, y'all probably could see the keloids kinda, but the nerve damage in my hand, I had to rappel out of a helicopter with 19 chunks of skin out of my hands and then do 12-mile road march at Port Arms with my hands all fucked up. No pain meds. Well, I was on Motrin, but no real pain meds. Secondarily, as I mentioned the other day, when I had the tubes tied and messed up, I had that open abdominal wound. And so I had to pack my open abdominal wound. You can appreciate this, Nurse Wells. You know how they leave a wound open and you got to clean it with saline solution twice a day? Well, the nurse only came twice a week to the house, so I had to clean it myself in my stomach and I had to look in the bedroom, bedroom mirror on the dresser to do it because my mother is queasy, so she couldn't even help me change my wound. But what she did help herself to was my Tylenol 3s that had codeine in it while I was in the shower. So 2 days home after the hospital, I was in NPO in the hospital, lost 18 pounds, was in the hospital for 13 days. So the second day that I was at home, I got out the shower to take my pain meds and I noticed that they weren't where they were supposed to be. So she took them because she's an addict. So when she went to work the next day, I threw all the pills away. So for 6 weeks, Nurse Wells, I had no pain meds and I changed my abdominal wound twice a day when you have to pack it and then put the thing on it and clean it. So I changed my wound my whole aftercare, I had no pain meds. So that's why my mom, and for a time when they didn't know what was wrong with my blood, I had a bone marrow aspiration back in September 2023. You know, you're supposed to take pain meds after that, get you some Tylenol or some Motrin, because I couldn't take that because they were trying to determine if I had lupus or whatever. So they did a bone marrow aspiration. I did the outpatient at the hospital, went home, no pain meds, and I was back up the next day helping my daughter. So, and then I got 5 teeth pulled next day, helping my daughter too. So I really have a very, 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 very high threshold. I know you can appreciate this as a nurse. You're like, no, you changed your own open abdominal wound with no pain meds, and it was your stomach. You laying on the bed doing that. Yeah. Lord have mercy. Now you see why they call me. I'd be like, I wouldn't go to her. Listen, no way. So this right here was actually nothing. It was more so the Tylenol was making me groggy than anything else. So once I woke up completely, I was good to go. So what the regulated brain does, again, it is the dorsolateral daily execution. The basal ganglia is the habit automation. The ACC is error detection without your identity collapsing. And the insula is your body regulation, and it's in neutral. So instead of chasing spikes, it builds systems. And that is the difference between excellence and success. Because one thing about success is it doesn't translate over into other things unless you did it in an excellent capacity. So my daughter is successful in business because I'm successful in life. Everything that I did to the best of my ability. So I have systems That was the difference between a successful person. Because a successful person can't really tell you how they did it because they didn't have a why and a strategy. I can tell you, Jared is in Toastmasters. Denise is about to go back. I can tell them, here's what you got to do. Here is what you need to put your DTM project on. Pick it on something that makes sense for you. Here is how you get all of your next levels, because now they're levels. They used to be ACC, ACB. They just changed the education system, but you still can be a DTM. That's the highest one. So I can tell you how to do that. If you're in small business, I had 3 iterations of teaching small business owners with the city of Las Vegas and the urban chamber how to, it doesn't matter if you're starting up, you a pre-existing business, or you want to level up, how to prepare your business to pitch to investors and be contract ready. I did that. People were doing business in 4 different continents when I was the strategic advisor for the urban chamber: Poland, Australia, South Africa, and Brazil. I'm like that. I told y'all. So when I say I could do something, I could do it because I did it already. It's not that I think I know. I can pick up the phone. You ain't got to be phone ready. You could just be ready. It won't matter who you're talking to, because you will be like that. My daughter says she wanted to do business on the strip. She has many times. She says she wanted corporate clients. She has. All these things that she wanted to build. You can go to her Instagram. You can see it. 2,600 projects, 1,250 5-star reviews, thousands of pieces of furniture put together, because I'm like that. So I don't have to stand in front of a bookcase. I don't have to be sitting at some desk with some fucking leather executive chair making it look like I'm like that. I am. Just talk to me long enough. You will see I'm fucking amazing. So why this matters for real leaders? If you build on episodes, you become emotionally reactive. I'm going to say that again. If you build on episodes, you become emotionally reactive. And people who are successful got a nice little bubble that they operate in. If you try to ask them a question outside of something, they will kind of redirect or give you some bullshit answer. If I know the answer, I will tell you. If I don't know the answer, I'll be like, I don't know. But here is a path that you can go on to get you started in the right direction. So if you build it on structure, you become predictable. And that's what the brain wants. It took me 12 years to understand that all this shit is neurological. It's neurological, because I kept saying, why can't people? Well, what if I do this? What if I adjust the system this way? What if I adjust the system that way? What if I do this? And once I severed the relationship with my immediate family and I could think clearly, I had neural clarity, bam, it's the brain. Well, fuck, I got to learn how the brain works then. I got to learn how the brain works. And so for the last 15 months, I've been studying the brain every day. And yes, it's a very intricate organ. But if we don't know how to use the thing that we use every day, that's what the fuck is getting in our way. We don't know how it functions. So how we going to be high functioning when we don't know how this thing that functions? Everything else. And now that people are doing level 3 neural reps, you are literally like, so everything's connected to the brain. Because everybody says life happens in the colon and the insula is connected. And you got a head brain, a heart brain, a gut brain. Yes. But everything happens in the brain first before it happens out here. The brain is telling everything what to do. And yes, the heart is pumping to the brain, but you can get an artificial heart. You cannot get an artificial brain. They working on it, but they 30 years out. It's impossible. Yes, I can, Lacey. If you build on episodes, you become emotionally reactive. You become emotionally reactive. And that is why successful people have a low emotional baseline in their SGACC2. Because it's episodic. So they don't have to be disciplined every day. They don't have to do the right thing every day. They just have to do it when they're focused on being successful. That's why the rest of their lives is in shambles. That's why. Because they haven't thought of what is the best way. What is the best way to get this done? What is the best way to get this done? People don't do that. They're just trying to get it done. They operating at 70%, talking about, oh, look, I'm a genius. No, you're not. No, you're not. And the only way for you to continue to have excellence is you got to keep challenging yourself. That's where the new neurons come from in the dentate gyrus. When you learn and grow. Because everybody's like, ooh, the brain is plastic. The brain is plastic. Neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity. But you didn't read the terms and conditions of neuroplasticity. You got to challenge yourself. And you got to learn something to get access to those new neurons. Otherwise, what you're doing is in the basal ganglia. It's a habit loop. It's implicit, and that's it. You're not going to be a genius until you challenge yourself. In a whole bunch of different areas of your life. So people staying in the same industry, you don't know shit. Staying in the same industry, you're going to have to go do something totally unrelated. I learned a lot about the entertainment industry by acting and by working with Charles Smith, the former New York Knicks, and his whole thing was when people came out the league, whether it was baseball, hockey, football, or basketball, what you gonna do with your money? And I sat in the room with some people with some Super Bowl rings and some doggone World Series championships and all that shit, sitting right across from them, asking what they was gonna do now. We had he used to have a thing here every year. And now I know how that works. And I know how spoiled athletes are. All of that. So my point is that when you are excellent, you can go anywhere and do anything. And when you are successful, you can only be where your success is. You are specialized. So everybody, I was an MP, a military police officer in the Army. Everybody that I was an MP with is either a cop now in the civilian world, or they are in security, or they're doing some type of government security for an organization. All of them. The drill sergeants I had, everything, all in security. And when I was leaving, I was going to be an FBI agent. And I said, fuck that. Because I ain't going to be taking a bullet for the people. And I'm like, no, I'm good. Secret Service, what I'm going to do? I said, no, I want to do something simple. My ass went to Frito-Lay and almost died. But that's not the point. I said, I want to do something simple. It's just chips. Can't nobody die unless they eat too many. And I didn't understand that people could die because of all the doggone safety components. So I went and did something totally unrelated. And for 9 years and 2 months and some change days, I learned how to take finished raw materials, turn it into finished goods, and sell it in the marketplace at a Fortune 100 company. I went there and learned every part of that doggone business, so I know how big business works. I volunteered at the Urban Chamber because I didn't know how nonprofits works. I didn't know how small businesses get contracts. I didn't understand any of that. So for 2 years, I mastered that. And for 2 years, I said, oh, okay, cool. Corporations want to see this from a business. Got it. If you want to do business over here, I met with South African delegates. I was working with the governor's office of economic development so these doggone trade mission shit could happen. All of that. That's how you get that done. Now I know how that works too. So I know how everything works. And I can tell you how it works. But if this don't work, then it ain't going to work. Because that was the part that was missing. It's like, well, I'm telling you what to do. Why you ain't doing it? But if you skip the line and left the skills behind, if you are emotionally dysregulated and you got a weak PFC, you can't do nothing I'm saying because I'm not talking to your brain. I'm talking to your limbic system. So you ain't processing. What I sound like I'm saying is work, 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 work. And you want shortcut, 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 immediate gratification. And now that I know that, that's why the process is so hard. That's why people don't get direct access to me anymore because you haven't earned it neurologically. You don't have no neural sweat equity. So no, I'm not going to be on your podcast. No, I'm not coming to sit on your panel and all of that because your people ain't worthy. If they have not come through me, through real leadership, I ain't fucking talking to them because they're going to nitpick at what I'm saying. Tell me I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about and be like, you doing too much. You take it too long. It don't take all that. It does if you're going to be excellent. You're right. I'm doing a lot and you're not doing enough. So this matters for real leaders because, again, as I said, if you build on episodes, you're going to become emotionally reactive. If you build on structure, you're going to become predictable. Nobody, if I don't show up at 4 o'clock in the morning or 5:30 in the morning, y'all going to say she in a 72-hour hold in Clark County because some people was talking shit about Nola and she fucked them up. Or she dead. Because even if she was in the hospital, she'd be like, hey, y'all, I'm about to go to surgery, so ain't no live today. She got to be dead or incarcerated. Is the only reason why she's not here this morning. Hey, listen, and if I get locked up, Clark County, just throw some money on my books, okay? Do that. I'm going to need some cigarettes and some bonnets and shit as currency. A predictable brain is a trained brain. A predictable brain. And for those of you that are, all right, level 3, and even if you at level 1 or level 2, how your brain feel now that you actually doing neural reps? Go ahead. Tell the truth. Be honest. How your brain, you actually probably like, damn, I got a brain. I forgot which was the scarecrow who needed a brain on the Wizard of Oz. Success will come and it will go and it will come again. But structure remains. Structure remains. That's why people who knew me from the past are confused. That's why y'all been on the live, I think, with 2 people, Luther McCaskill and Douglas Black. One from Cass and one from my neighborhood. It's like, Dr. Donna? Yeah. It's me. It's definitely me. Level 1, 2, and 3s. And I asked y'all a question. I said, how your brain feel? Your brain trained? Are you training your brain now? That was an actual question for you. So here is the neural clarity close. Success is episodic. Excellence is daily. Success is episodic. And excellence is daily. Regulation is identity. When you are regulating yourself, you know who you are. And I tell you all the time, when you know who you are, people can't tell you who you ain't. Tiffany said, feeling great now, much more fulfilled. Much more fulfilled. And people think you got to go buy some shit. Successful people think you got to go purchase it. You can't purchase this. Tiffany, could you purchase this? I know you paid for your membership, but could you purchase your level of fulfillment? Where was you going to go? Amazon? Because I told people to do this. If you could go buy this, if this was easy to do, go in the store, in grocery store, and ask them, where are the neurons? Where are the neurons? Lacey said, more stable, able to go to neutral because I'm learning what neutral is. Nurse Wells said, amen. Jared said, I reclaim my brain out of the lost and found. Yes. And yes, Daisy said, yes, I'm training my brain. All right. Somebody go on Amazon and tell me how much 100,000 neurons cost. Because you can get tombstones on Amazon. So Amazon must have the neurons. And ask them, can you get a bottle of neuroplasticity? Go ahead. I'm going to drink some water. Because we had somebody on the live yesterday, 2 days ago, talking about lion's mane and proteins and all that. Go ahead. Even when I got sat down, pushed back the level 2, I was still coming back. Yes. Don't worry, Tiffany. Jared had to restart on level 3. So it made you better. Training my brain, more clarity. Anybody with a second device, go on Amazon. I want, and I need to put it in my Amazon store, so send me the link on Instagram. What you want is 3 bottles of neuroplasticity, 100 neurons, and 50 neural pathways. And it's probably going to take 2 days. You know, supply chain is messed up because of the snow. And my Miss Brenda Jones, my ACC, throw in an ACC and dorsolateral prefrontal cortex too. Send me the links on Instagram. Turnaround doctor. If somebody could do that, do a solid for me while I close out. And let me know who's doing it. Let me know who's going to send me the Amazon links for it. I'm going to put them in my store. I'm going to call it the neuroplasticity thing. I forgot the name of it right now. Anybody? Anybody? Why don't you get you a synaptic snack pack from the corner store, the CVS, the convenience store? Synaptic. It got to be some fire and wire. You know how they used to have the pops? So just like Reese cups come together, you got to have some neurons, fire wire, neuron pack. They probably come in a pack of 6 on there. Anybody help an old lady out? See how that don't make no damn sense. So you could buy as many supplements as you want. Supplement what? For where? Whole industry on supplements. Synaptic snack pack. That's right. Go ahead. Get you some doggone well, I can't think of it now. It's gonna come to me in a minute. So go ahead. Go ahead. You know what? Say this nucleus accumbens I got ain't giving me no more fucking dopamine. I'm about to throw this motherfucker. I need a new nucleus accumbens. Action potential. They got to have some action potential in the protein section next to the magnesium. It's got to be some action potential on sale. You just finished up President's Day. Got to be a BOGO on some action potential. So the next time you see somebody selling you some brain shit other than a damn brain t-shirt, because you can wear this and have conversations about it. How they gonna sell you something about your brain? And Chad and I had this conversation. You can use supplements, but you got to supplement what's there. It got to be there to supplement. Something got to be there to supplement it. And the things that you actually need, you can't buy. You have to wire. You got to prune, recode, and wire in order for you to get to excellence. That's why everybody keeps settling on success, because then you don't look as bad. You don't look as bad. You got the survival people that ain't doing shit. And then you got the successful people, every now and then, they loud as shit, like they done actually did something. And they ain't did a damn thing. That's why the houses are disheveled. They might be disheveled and unkempt. And they just want to keep telling you about this doggone car, this house they got. But I take care of my house. You take care of shit else but your house. But you know the house, they came over to the house. They came over to the house. Everything, you can tell what successful people care about because that's the only thing they fucking talk about. And then they talk about how everybody else's ain't shit, but theirs is the shit. You ain't shit either. That ain't shit. And if you got it, you purchased it, you financed it, and you're done, it's over. What you doing now? You bought a house 5 years ago and that was it. You ain't did shit since then. And the house ain't even clean no more. And now shit falling apart, especially with these new houses. They build them to break. So, no, you cannot go purchase shit for your brain in order for you to become excellence. You got to become it. You got to become it. Now you know why I don't follow anybody. Now you know why I'm not impressed with any of that because it is episodic. So now I will be using the correct terms, which is phasic and where is it at? Because I just forgot it. Damn it. Tonic. Just learned these yesterday. Phasic and tonic. And phasic is manufactured. It's a spike. It has to do with success. And tonic is natural daily. And that's why when people see me, that's the final thing I'm going to say because I got to pee. That's why when people see me, I don't look successful. And that's why they feel like they can try to come and say some shit to me. And they soon find out that they are wrong because they don't know what excellence looks like. They can't hear excellence. They have no idea what excellence sounds like. No idea. No idea what it looks like or what it sounds like because they just got this mid-level success. She ain't got a watch on. That means she ain't got no money. She always got that same wig on. She changed her wig out about once every month. Yeah, and she don't have no jewelry on. Where her suit at? Why she ain't got no books in the background? Why she ain't name dropping? Why we don't never see her at nothing? Why we only see her from the rib cage up? She ain't never standing up nowhere. She got legs at the bottom. I ain't never seen her talking to a celebrity. I don't trust nobody that don't talk about what's happening in the news. I don't really think she can read the newspaper. Because why she ain't mad? What's her political affiliation? Why she stopped going to church? They started doing all this dumb shit. And ain't nobody said, damn, how the hell she 839 days live? Because people ain't got that. So they ain't got no fucking frame of reference. When I say I got 12,700 YouTube videos and ain't nobody on my channel but me, your brain can't process 12,700 YouTube videos on different topics. How? You ain't talking about nobody else. You ain't talking about nobody else. You got idea after idea after idea. 140 playlists. I got curious questions, poll questions, and one more type of question. I forgot. I can't think of it right now. I got 13 playlists of curious questions with 30 different questions in 13 different playlists. So people can use that as conversation starters. If you are starting up your company, you're getting ready to have an offsite somewhere, you just go to that playlist and pick some questions out. And now you can go ask these people. Massive catalogs. Because people don't know what excellence. And they had me feeling bad because I didn't want to be successful. So I was just like, fuck it. I ain't putting shit out there. Because if y'all going to tell me that I need to be successful, that feel like low level to me. So I'm going to just be quiet. But now I'm not going to be quiet. Like Kia said in Biker Boys, I'm calling you out. I'm calling all the successful people out. That's why I say I'm the baddest motherfucker walking the face of the planet Earth. Because you can't do daily. You can't do daily. You can do episodic. That ain't the same doggone thing. I got to wait 1 second. I know I said I'm about to go. But where is my Duolingo notebook? I started Duolingo because my daughter was doing Duolingo in high school. My streak is higher than hers. As of yesterday, I got a 3,432 day streak on Duolingo. I finished first in the Diamond League back in 2023, and then I took my account private. So, yeah, 3,000. Today will be 3,433 days of a Duolingo streak. And there are people who have a higher streak than me, but that's all they got. That's just one of many daily streaks that I have. So as I close, I just want you to consider these questions. What was your last success? And how long did the feeling last of that last success. And what have you done in between your wins? And can you tolerate being neutral? Can you tolerate being neutral? Because that's why people don't make it. That's why people start and then they don't finish what they start. Because that neutral, that's like silence. Silence is deafening to people. That neutral will stop you in your tracks. Thank you, Jared. Stop you in your tracks. That neutral, because you don't know how long you're going to be in neutral. That middle. I got videos about the middle. I wrote articles, blogs about the middle. Don't nobody want to be in the middle. That's why you settle for a quick success. That's why you finagle it. So it look like you winning. You ain't winning, you cheating. You cheating yourself in your brain. And you can't think yourself out of a wet paper bag. I'm so many people talking about how successful they are. Then why you can't think outside of this? Take them outside of their office, bumbling idiot. Can't get shit done. So neutral. And remember, I don't drink, I don't smoke. I had to change my diet. I don't have no vices. We don't have no sugar in our house. We don't have no doggone agave, stevia, or nothing. I did buy some honey to put in my tea, but I don't even like the way that tastes though. So the honey is still sitting there. I get up every day at the same time. I have a very disciplined diet. And I'm still fun to be around. People can't do that. No vices whatsoever. I live in Las Vegas. This is Vice City. If you want it, it's here. Because of how neurologically strong I am. People looking at the wrong shit. You're looking at the successful stuff. That's why I don't know if I'll ever get a car again. I don't need no damn car. I don't. And I'm from the Motor City. And it took me a long time to realize that I didn't need no car. I walk from my bed to my office. The fuck I need a car for? I almost like, really, if I laid out, I'd be in my office and touching my bed at the same time. How long I am between my arms and my legs. So Tiffany is thinking. So the questions are, what was your last success? How long did the feeling last? And what did you do in between wins? And can you tolerate neutral? And if you get to a high enough level of comfort, then you just start making more money. And then that means that you're successful. That's why I don't mention money. I don't mention it because that's what all successful people do. You ain't got no bread. You ain't sitting on no money. Racks on racks on racks and stacks on stacks on stacks. That ain't shit. Money only solves money problems. That's it. After that, it's nothing. It solves money problems. And you can only live in one house, drive one car, wear one outfit, in my case, one wig at a time. That's it. And that's what they use. Successful people use titles and possessions and money as a metric. But that's all fleeting. Once you become a millionaire, unless you fuck it up, you a millionaire. That's it. Now what are you going to do? So I look at how risk averse people are, how much they're currently doing, when the last time they learned something, when the last time they did something. And I want to know what you're working on that you're a novice at. Something that makes you afraid every day because you're bad at it. Where is that at? Because that's where the new neurons are coming from. That's where they're coming from. So I ain't hating. I'm assessing. That's what I'm doing. And I'm like, okay. My last success was losing 70 pounds. I had began to settle until now. There you go. You like, shoot, I just lost 70 pounds. I'm good for about 2 years. No, you're not. And thank you for that, Lacey. So here is what happens with success. Stopping myself from buying junk foods this morning. Awesome. Awesome, Jared. Awesome. Did you go get fruit? I told you to go get fruit. That fruit is going to change your life. You're talking to a sugarholic over here. So what happens is, here's what I do. Because you can have, as somebody with tonic dopamine every day, phasic dopamine is, you can still have it. So you can do apples, oranges, everything. Just go experiment with fruit, Jared. Preparing the refrigerator, something new. Awesome. So you can celebrate your wins. That's small wins. You close your own reward loop. So when I finished my neuroscience classes, I went and got some frames, printed out the certificates, and I put them on my wall. And that was the phasic dopamine coming in. And then I got back to my next class, registered for my next class on the day that I finished my 4th class. Okay, what's my next class? So you can celebrate it, but you can't walk around. I still got to wait till 11 a.m. to eat. Got it. So you can celebrate that, but that's not the thing. That's just a milestone. You did that. You lost 70 pounds. Okay, cool. And in a dysregulated system, you get a lot of credit for that for a while. And I'm saying you get credit for that day. And then you're done. And now it's time to go do something else. Because the brain needs you to keep being extraordinary and when you're and excellent. And when you're wired for excellence, you're like, okay, this is my next excellence. This is my next excellence. And that 2 levels up ensures that you're going to keep pursuing excellence. I could have stopped at Captain Thomas. I could have stayed at Frito-Lay and been done. I didn't have to get a master's degree. I didn't have to get a doctorate, and I did because of excellence and under very stringent conditions. Because I'm showing people what's possible. And I didn't know it at the time that I'm saying this is what the brain is capable of doing. And you're not asking enough of your brain. You're not demanding. Set and maintain high standards for yourself. You're not doing that. Because you're sitting around a bunch of regular ass episodic successful people. And everybody takes their turn being successful. And then it fizzles out. And then you sit. That's why people have midlife crises. Because that success ain't successing no more. And they want more. And so they go do dumb shit. Buy a new car. Oh, I'm going to go get some plastic surgery because I look tired. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lose some weight. I'm going to be snatched. And then you go right back to your regularness. You're just in a different outfit. And you pulled up in a different car to the same shit. That's not extraordinary. That's not excellent. That's regular. So if you don't leave with anything else today, number one, all of y'all that's not in level 1 need to be in level 1. I'm going to just say that. Because you can keep being successful and then they're going to get to your funeral and talk about how good you looked in that blue suit. She always had that blue suit on. You know when she came in with that blue suit? Yeah, and he was always wearing fedoras. That was his thing. She had a closet full of fedoras. That's what your ass going to be known for. MBA in 2017, looking for more money. Didn't feel fulfilled until working on my business. Not enough. There you go. That's an honest assessment, Tiffany. An honest assessment. That's what happens. Because you got to look at you. So then you start doing other stuff. You start deflecting. Working on becoming a personal coach and will take 8 months. And your teaching is amazingly needed now. Yes, ma'am. Because people can't endure. That's why you got to have those small wins. Every time you do a neural rep, guess what you just gave yourself? Some tonic dopamine. And then when you hit that milestone, that 7-day, that 30-day, that 90-day, that 180-day, that's the phasic dopamine. Success. Now let me level up. Success. Now let me level up. Success. Now let me level up because, and when you get to it, it feels different. It feels like, ooh, okay, I got it. Now get to my next level. So it isn't this big celebratory thing. You don't have to put it all on there. You can, but tomorrow you got to produce some more tonic dopamine. And the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And then you get accustomed to that. And then when you start looking at people and their success, you go, that ain't shit. Why y'all made a whole about that? My success is making my body free from kidney issues, pre-diabetic, and Crohn's disease. Awesome, Daisy. Small wins, yes. Sure does. It feels different because it's a different release in the nucleus accumbens. I want everybody to learn how their brain functions so they can be high functioning. But everybody ain't going to do it. Let's be real. If you stuck in comfort, if you stuck in survival mode, if your identity protection is in your raggedy ass successes that happen sporadically, then you got to take a leap of faith. You got to challenge yourself, embrace change. You're going to have to change in order to be who you came here to be. And that takes work every day. It's in your daily. It's not in your successively. That's what people, they get plenty of money. Just listen, going forward now, listen to what people say about other people and their success. And then ask yourself, how much brain capacity did that take? Most people are in pre-existing systems that were already there where the success metric was there and they just had to get to it. That don't take a lot of neural pathways. Just follow fucking instructions. I notice when I get praised on here, I start to self-sabotage myself. I am recoding that. I know, Jared, that day you got all that praise is the day you had to restart. I'm glad you finally noticed that. I was waiting on when you was going to pay attention to that. Yes. Yes. Lazy J in the motherfucking way. Yep. That's okay. Because that's what, Jared, you know what? Guess what I do? You know, because at one point, YouTube was messing up my monetization on the live. I figured out how to do it from my tablet so it could still be done. So I didn't stop for them 3 days. YouTube did. Because my mom was like, you can't make no money doing that. You can't make no money doing that. And then the button was gone. I said, motherfucking button. But it shows up on my tablet. So I get it. I completely understand it. Old ass fucking programming, and the ACC is having discord. It's a mismatch neurologically. And that's why you got to keep doing it, because you're going to knock that motherfucking wall down for real, for real. You said I blew it and then came back and still did your work, and you still here. Still doing everything that you need to do. And some markers are stronger than other markers. And this money marker is stronger than a motherfucker for me. It's the strongest one out of all of them. Out of all of them, it's always one. One, if you ever did any gardening or anything, you trying to get that one, and that root is all the way you getting a shovel and everything, trying to get it out. But when you do, I'm telling you, that breakthrough is amazing. You're going to go from here to the galaxy. Because it is the most hardwired thing in your brain. And as soon as it is doggone rooted up, pruned all the way out, it's on like popcorn. So you just keep doing it. Because it's attached to everything. That's what it's attached to the honey buns. It's attached to sitting in the lazy boy. It's attached to everything. Because it built its own personality. It's got its own personality. And that's what's you against you. Old you versus the you that you are becoming. But you got this. You got this. You kicking ass and taking names. For real, for real. Yep. You're going to just have a cathartic moment. You're going to be sitting there washing the dishes, cleaning up the kitchen. And yes. And the next thing you know, neural clarity. That thing is going to be gone. You're not even going to register it anymore. You're going to be so disassociated with it, it's going to feel foreign. Like, no, that ain't me. I promise you. I did it a bazillion times. Okay, thank you so much for your time, ladies and gentlemen. But this was important. I knew I was correct. I knew it was 2 different types of dopamine when it came to this success, motivation, bullshit, and everydayness. I'm glad I got some neuroscience terms to back it up now. And now you know success is completely over fucking rated. And it ain't shit. It's episodic. It happens infrequently. And they got you being regular and shit. Former 04E here. Curious how much of your leadership mindset is attributed to the military versus business. Most of it is coming from ROTC in the military. Very little of it is coming from business. My doctorate is in organizational leadership. I wrote a leadership book, Real Leaders Wear Pink. So more of it, I was already a leader when I got to my corporate experience. So I would say JROTC, ROTC, the Army. And then, so more of how businesses function and communicate effectively, speaking Wall Street, the global economy came from business, but the leadership came from ROTC and the military. That's what I would say. And reading a bunch of books on leadership and being in a bunch of leadership positions. So having to get my way out of shit. That is what I would say. So, yeah, I would say probably 80-20. 80 military ROTC leadership positions. And then, because I've got leadership position, I'm a DTM, so it's a distinguished Toastmaster. I got leadership experience in clubs, district levels, stuff like that. So, yeah. All right. So you yes, vamonos. All right. You all have a great rest of your day. I will be live with my daughter. We're doing YouTube live today, Real Life with Nola and Dr. Donna. Today's topic is keep your word. She needs my phone to set up the live. And like I said, I'm perimenopausal, so I got to pee. I'll be back tomorrow. You all go off and have a great brain-tastic day. Take care. Adios.